Welcome to my first impressions of Bravely Default on the 3DS. And since I like a capture card in my 3DS, I decided to borrow footage from another YouTube user. And I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but I'll put a link in the description to his video if you want to see a recording of his experiences of the first hour of the game. Though I'm not sure if it's honest to call this video a first impression, considering I've spent over 40 hours on this game at this point. Yes, over 40, and I'm finally going to talk about a first impression video. I should have been doing this over 20 some hours ago. With that out of the way, let's move on to the story. Story-wise, the game is sort of a throwback to the early Final Fantasy games, where you have to go around collecting various crystals, though in this game you have to restore 4 crystals who've been corrupted by the darkness because of a organization that's part of a new religion called anti-crystalism. Though exactly why they want to destroy the crystals or control them, as it's been implied at certain points of the game, I'm not entirely sure. I think it has something to do about controlling the fate of humanity, though why they are putting the control of the fate of humanity in the hands of humans instead of the crystals. But that's just what I've been getting out of it. I'm not entirely sure if that's right, but I guess I'll find out. With that out of the way, the thing that'll really drive this game is the interactions between the characters, and there's character chat at certain points in this game you can pull up that's optional. You don't have to stop and see it. Some of it's cute and funny and reminds me of the Tales of games. But the main problem you can have with this is the characters themselves tend to fall into very standard roles you expect from a game like this. Or I should say an RPG out of Japan. Which means if you don't like the character types you see in those games, you're probably not going to like this game too much, at least in terms of its story. So you may want to leave right now if you have issues with that. Gameplay-wise, the game is a turn-based RPG with random encounters, but the random encounters happen only as often or as frequently as you want to. If you want, you can turn the random encounter rate all the way down to 0 and not have any random encounters. Or you can do what I did and jack them all the way up and have random encounters all the time. But I can't really complain about it because I subjected myself to it. I've been at it for over 40 hours now of doing it that way. On one hand, it means I've grinded out a lot of levels very early, so I'm not like level 70, and I haven't even cleared the third temple yet to restore the fire crystal. Has its ups and downs, I guess. It means the boss fights are relatively easy, and so are the regular enemies. On the downside, it's eaten up a lot of time, as you can see, over the hours I've spent on over the last couple of months it's been out. Well, I shouldn't even say last couple of months it's been out, because it's been out for almost, what? It's been out since February, so it's been out for almost 5 months now, and I still haven't finished it.
Keep watch on him a while, Father.
Though the real thing that changes combat up in this game is the braving / default system. If you brave, you can use up turns early in order to get in multiple attacks on the same turn. But this means you'll have to wait more turns for your next attack unless you defaulted first and saved up turns before you decide to go on the all-out offensive. So the game sort of offers a sort of risk-reward system. You can either save up turns and then go all out, or you can risk going all out right at the start of an encounter and hope you have enough strength to finish off all of the enemies right then and there. Because if you mess up and if you miscalculate, then you're gonna have to wait 4 turns while the enemies pound away at you. And they'll take a good chunk of your health away, trust me. The enemies in this game aren't anything to sneeze at, especially if you got the difficulty up to hard like I do. Though, even if you manage to have the strength to knock them out on the first turn, they can still get in attacks before you do, which can really be annoying if you're trying to grind out job points, because if you take out all the enemies without taking any damage, you get additional job points. And this amount increases as you go through more and more battles without being damaged. So if you get that broken up, because the enemy got to go first, you can really grind some teeth about it. Then again, that's probably not unexpected in the game anyway, considering enemies can sometimes get the drop on you, and you can get the drop on enemies. So bit of a mixed blessing, I guess, slash curse. The job system itself is a sort of mixed bag, in my opinion, because I've never been too fond of job systems, because they just create a whole nother series of grinding. Which is definitely true for this game, because each of your jobs has its own level. And as you level it up, you gain more abilities you can put to your character. Because yes, you can pick and choose certain abilities from the various job classes. Like there's classes that might make it where you have S sword, meaning every time you equip a sword, you get the maximum benefit from it. Or if you do the knight class, you can get, which is where you get the S sword ability. You can also get two hand, which allows you to wield a sword with two hands, which means you give up having a defensive shield, but you can dole out more damage wielding the sword with both hands instead. You can also have job class abilities that, like, the knight gets chivalry, which has certain skills within it, and you can also choose, which means you can have two of those. You can have one for the class you're currently using and one from another class, so you can have skills from two different job classes if you want, so you can mix and match to make things interesting. Though, which ones you'll choose, I don't know. So I guess in a way this game does try to dissuade you from actually spending time grinding out points for every single job, because you'll be at it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours no matter what you do. Because even if you get the item early on that can double the amount of job points and experience you get, you'll still be at it for hours and hours and hours and hours, which is why my progress has been stilled for like about the last 4 or 5 hours as I decided to try and grind out all my jobs up to the max, which isn't a good idea. I've gotten a couple done, but it's really eating up my patience and making me lose interest in the game, so I should probably stop doing that and actually just try and move forward. But that might be harder said than done, because I sort of set myself up for a very busy schedule for like the next month in terms of videos, where I want to be doing about one a day. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that works out. Graphically speaking, the game is sort of up and down, I guess. I like the hand-drawn art the game has in a lot of places, but the character model designs are more chibi-ish along with the enemies, I guess, to a certain extent. And the cute-looking stuff may or may not interest you or be enjoyable to your eyes. I can be sort of up and down on it. I mean, I've experienced more chibi art and stuff from Japanese animated works, but even I have mixed feelings on it, so mixed bag, I guess. Sound-wise, the soundtrack is beautiful. I'll be upfront. The soundtrack is very enjoyable. The voice acting, on the other hand, is a bit of a mixed bag. The English voice cast can be sort of up and down. I think it's alright. Other people I've read comments from really don't like it. On the plus side, you can switch back to the original Japanese audio if you want to, and you can do this at any time in the game, so you don't have to listen to the English voice acting if you don't want to. If you'd rather listen to the original Japanese audio, I can't speak of its quality because I haven't listened to it. So it may be better, it may be worse, or it may be better just because you don't understand what's really going on. If you're not really a master at the Japanese tonal and voice inflections and stuff to express their emotions. And I don't know if I've ever really went through the trouble to master that, so if I listen to an anime subbed, I'm usually relying on the lines at the bottom to tell me what's going on, which can either be an improvement or not mixed bag there. I didn't think the English voice acting was that bad though. I guess there's other parts of the gameplay I skipped over earlier, like the ab link system, which allows you to link to a friend's character if they have Bravely Default and you've shared your friend code with them. And the ab link system allows you to like use their higher job class characters to your benefit. So if you want, I guess if you worked out with a friend and you both bought this game, you can sort of pick and choose which jobs you're gonna max out as you advance. So you can then just sit back and take advantage of someone else's work. I'm sure they're gonna expect repayment back in turn for some of the other jobs they may not be interested in leveling up. or we'll foster some of them onto you just so it's fair. And that's really all I gotta say about this game for now. I mean, if you're a fan of what most people call Japanese RPGs, which I tend to hate the label JRPG, mainly because I just prefer to call them RPGs, but if you're a fan of games that fall under that label, then this game's definitely worth checking out. If you don't like games of that type, then I'd say avoid this game, because it's not going to be pleasant for you at all, because it fits all those tropes and experiences. All of them, just about. Maybe it'll twist things up a bit more near the end, but I'm not sure, because I haven't gotten to it yet. But I'll find out, and hopefully no one will put spoilers in my comment section, though I don't think anyone's really going to talk about this video or watch it, like most of my videos. And even the ones that get hits don't really get commented on, so hopefully I won't get spoilers. I doubt it. See you guys next time.